Puppini world. This is Kate speaking to you from a gorgeous little woodland in Hampshire near my home, and me and my little bike have taken ourselves off today to relieve the boredom, and we've come looking for some wild garlic. So I'm going to take you through a recipe to make some wild garlic pesto, maybe a wild garlic and nettle soup as well. So I'm coming to pick some things for that. So as you can see where we are, we're really lucky that we have some patches of wild garlic here which are just swathes of this gorgeous green goddess of a leaf. And at this time of year, sort of March, April, it's quite early in its season, so it's nice and sweet, and you can use it in salads, the littler leaves as well. And I'm going to show you what it looks like. You're looking for these long, silky green leaves. These little flower pods as well, so before they become flowers you can pick these and brine them, and they are like little capers, which is lovely. So I'm going to pick some of these leaves. I'm also going to take some young stinging nettle leaves as well and pop them into a soup. What you're trying to avoid when you forage is picking the wrong thing, because obviously that can lead to disastrous results. We won't go into that here, but anyway, this is the main contender when you're picking wild garlic. This is what you don't want to pick. This is lily of the valley. It's got two little ears, so it's quite different from these long silky leaves of the wild garlic. I'm going to pick and forage responsibly here. So under the Countryside and Wildlife Act of 1981, it states that taking wild garlic up from the bulb is illegal. So we're going to be leaving the bulbs intact and the plants intact, and pick from a site that is plentiful, which this clearly is, because it's just carpeting the sides here. So I'm going to pick leaves from various different plants so I don't make too much of an impact on the species or on the enjoyment of other foragers after me. So I will be back later with some recipes. Ciao, ciao. We have all the time in the world. Hello everybody! I am back from my cycling foraging adventure with loads of things to make lots of deliciousness with. I've had a shower, I've made myself look a little bit presentable, so I'm going to channel my inner Nigella as I tell you how to make wild garlic pesto. I'm just going to show you the things that I foraged first, some of which I'm going to use later to make some different things. But today we're going to be looking at making wild garlic pesto from these gorgeous green leaves. So they're nice and long and soft and smooth, and they really smell very distinctly of garlic. So if you've gone foraging for wild garlic and you pick some leaves that don't smell like garlic, chances are they're not garlic. Keep trying. I've also taken from the little wild garlic plants some of these early flower bulbs which sort of frond up from the top. I picked them from various different plants, so I haven't completely annihilated the plant of all of its flowers. They smell pretty pungent as well. I'm going to come back to these later. I'm going to be pickling these in vinegar and some other spices and pink peppercorns. And you can use them once they're pickled in salads or in salsa verde, or something where you would use sort of capers. They're a substitute for capers. They'll be nice and salty from the pickling, and they'll have a lovely garlic flavour. So the other thing that I went foraging for responsibly with my gloves were these young stinging nettle leaves, mainly the tops of the plants are plucked off. And I'm going to come back to this later. I'm going to be making a nettle and wild garlic soup. So for today, we're going to focus on this lovely wild garlic pesto. So the measurements, I'm using 100 grams of freshly picked, freshly washed wild garlic leaves. Pick through them as you're washing and make sure you haven't got any foreign leaves that you weren't expecting, or creepy crawlies or anything like that. Make sure you've got 100% 100 gram wild garlic leaves. And then we're going to also be using 60 grams of parmesan. You could use pecorino, it would give it a milder taste. I've used some aged parmesan today because it's banging. 60 grams of the cheese, 60 grams of nuts. Traditionally in a pesto you would be using pine nuts, toasted pine nuts, but today I've just used whatever I had in the cupboard because that's lockdown life. So today I've got some whole almonds, whole hazelnuts, and a few little sunflower and pumpkin seeds, which I'm going to toast before they go in, and I'm going to go to the cooker and show you how to do that interfrastically. The last main ingredient we have is 180 mils of olive oil. I'm using quite a light olive oil because there's not, well, you can use extra virgin if you want to make it fruity and extra exciting, but I think I'm just going to be using this today. It's all I've got and it's going to be really lovely. So the other two ingredients, bit of freshly ground pepper, and some lovely flaked sea salt. I'm going to use this because I had this in the cupboard. It was a gift from my husband. It's smoked sea salt flakes, so I thought I might add quite a nice little smoky back note as well. A small interlude while I show you how to toast nuts. So to toast these nuts or seeds, or even when you're toasting spices to make a curry or whatever, you always toast them in a dry pan. So this pan is on a medium heat and it's nice and warm. So I'm just going to tip these nuts and the little seeds in and we're going to let them toast for a couple of minutes really. And it's a similar principle with the spices as well. Just turn the heat up a bit. You're just trying to sort of release some of the oils and the flavours so they're more enhanced when you add them to whatever you're making. Keeping the nuts and the seeds on the move so they don't burn. But you can see that some of the little sunflower seeds are starting to take some colour. So we're just going to shimmy them around a little bit more, give them another minute or so, and voila! So, first things first, we are going to be using, well, I'm going to be using, who is this we? It's just me! There are cats, but they're sunning themselves in the garden. I am going to be using my lovely food processor today. You can actually make pesto by hand. If you get a big pestle and mortar and just grind away at the leaves, it will give you a much rougher sort of pesto. But I thought for today, and the quantity that I want to do, I'm going to be doing double quantity today because I want to freeze some. Freezes really easily. I'm going to be using my trusty steed of a food processor. So first things first, I'm going to take the wild garlic leaves, strip them up a little bit and pop them in. And essentially, what we're doing is putting all of the ingredients in to the food processor except your olive oil, because you'll drizzle that in later. So in go the wild garlic leaves, in go my toasted nuts, voila, and in goes the parmesan cheese. So I'm going to refrain from seasoning this just yet. You've got to remember that the cheese is pretty salty, and even though I'm a big fan of salty food, you can't remove salt from food. So the best thing to do would be to paste it all up, give it a try, and then add salt and pepper later on to taste. So I'm going to give this a little blitz now. What a beautiful sound. Also, it might be a wise idea to put your hand on the top so the nuts don't fly out and hit you in the eye. We're just going to pass it along. So as you can see, this is making a nice paste. And actually I do want to make this a little bit chunky, so I'm just going to leave this as it is for now. Actually, first thing you should probably do, have a look inside and make sure everything is getting caught in the blade. So I'm just going to push it all down a bit. Like that, and give it another blast. There's a little stray leaf that doesn't want to go, so I'm going to push that down again. My goodness, the smell is extremely good. You know what they always say about, you shouldn't kiss people with garlicky breath, but just lace their food with garlic as well and then they'll never notice. That's my trick anyway with my husband. So we're going to keep this on a sort of minimum whiz, and I'm going to slowly pour the olive oil in. What a lovely quiet experience. Having that a bit of a time, I'm going to just give it another little stir around. It's looking pretty good. It's also still quite chunky, which is excellent. Pour in the last. And I think that's all I really want to do because I want to keep it quite chunky. So, I'm just going to give it a little stir around. If you can see, it's lovely and smooth and gorgeous. It smells blooming-tastic. So I'm just going to give it a little taste. And it does definitely need a little bit of salt. Not too much. Let's just give it a little pinch. And this smoky salt is going to give it a really nice back note, I think. And then I'm a big fan of black pepper. So I'm going to give it quite a serious grinding, as it were. I'm just going to put the lid back on, tiny bit more salt, and give it a final blitz. And there we have it. Lovely, green, unctuous wild garlic pesto, which you can simply have on pasta, or sometimes it's really nice as a little layer underneath the cheese on toast. And as I said before, it's great for freezing, so you can make a whole batch of this whilst the wild garlic is in season, and then freeze it and have it all year round. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. There we go. It's a bit sludgy, but my goodness, that's delicious. Back later with a few more recipes.
Fence me in, Whopper, don't you fence me in.
Thank you so much for watching our video. We do hope you liked it, and if you did, please subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get told every time that we put a new video online.
And if you really liked it and want to help us make more, you can support us on Patreon. Just click on the link below, and once you're signed up, you'll have access to exclusive MP3s and live Zoom video chats and many more fabulous things.
Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next video.